Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. In this episode, we're exploring the exciting Coneflower Pavilion project at the Heckrot Wetland Reserve in Menasha, Wisconsin. I had a blast carving 4 really cool panels that depict the life cycle of the monarch butterfly. Join me as we take a colorful journey through this amazing transformation. And hey, by the end, you might just be so inspired you want to start your own butterfly farm. My name's Jeff Moore, I'm the Northwoods Carver, and thanks for seeing what I saw. I have just arrived from the Amish mill with a bevy of boards to unload. These boards will become the next project. And as you can see, I'm putting them down on the jaw horses and measuring as well. I'm not exact, but I'm fairly confident that they were pretty close. And unfortunately, I could not get that skill saw to cut all the way through. So I had to use a hand saw to just kind of clean up the parts that I couldn't get and get those pieces off of there. That's the reason for the hand saw. I'm not a total barbarian.
Oh, hey everyone, welcome back to the Mojo Dojo, where you never know what I'm going to do next. Because I don't know what I'm going to do next. That being said, you can see a lot of things going on around here, around the shop. This is for a different project, but right now we're going to be talking about this. I'll talk about this in the other project. And that one's called Pack a Lunch, so be looking out for that one coming down the old packaroni. This is going to be a fun project. How many of you carvers out there like to do flat work? In other words, relief carvings. Okay. Me, I like doing them because it allows you to have a greater span, like imagination. And you can create trees and rivers and people and, flowers, butterflies. And you can give depth to something that's only about like that. And make it look like my Patriot wall, for example. It looked like it was way deep. There's bombs bursting in the background. Just a gigantic, crazy eagle coming out of the wall, like that. And there's the GIs are running behind him, bomb bursting and stuff. Yeah, go check that one out. That's called flat work. That's what I call flat work. Anyways, that being said, this is going to be that, but not like that. This is going to be cornflowers and butterflies. Different. The evolution of the cornflower. Cornflower. It's called the Heckrot Corneflower Pavilion. It's going to be, so when you go into this pavilion, it's going to look like a cornflower. What's a cornflower? Right? Anyway, there's a cornflower pavilion being built at the Heckrot facility, and I think it's a wildlife sanctuary, place where kids can go. I did the carving for the Heckrot Wild Space Project. Maybe you saw that in one of my videos. Probably not. Maybe if you did, I appreciate you. And if you didn't, I'd appreciate you if you just go watch it, because it's pretty cool. I have lots of cool videos on here. There is a video that did rather well at least for me anyway. I have low standards, folks. So if it did well, it's 200 people. So anyway, it did well for my standards, and it's called the Heckrot Wild Space Project. I don't know why it went down that path. Why do I do anything? Oh yeah. So I gotta trim the ends off and make them square. All the boards have to be 8 feet long, and I'm gonna put them together. And so once they're together, I'll put them against the wall. I'll put a couple screws back there so that kind of holds them, buttons them up tight. And then I'm gonna draw my border And then all the magic happens in that border. And I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know how I'm gonna do the border. I might do the border where it's in quarters. You know what I'm saying? And we just do like it's looking through a window. I'm not sure, like a window frame. That might be fun. Anyway, so I've got this project. I'm really looking forward to it. I love working with the people from Heckrot, and I can't wait to sink my stinger in. Oh, that sounded bad. I was gonna do a bee and a cornflower. That's not a bee, but butterflies don't have stingers, do they?
No!
So I don't know what one is. So I have to do all kinds of research, and then I have to like somehow carve the life cycle of a cornflower. They're very important, I guess, because butterflies love them. Butterflies love me too. So maybe I'll do a self-portrait. These are kiln dried and 4-side squared. They're planed up and everything, but they never. I just needed 8 footers, and they gave me these weird cuts like this. So I got to somehow square those up. I got an old beater. This, if any of you guys know Chicago tools, you'd think Chicago sounds like a pretty impressive brand. It's not. It's super cheap. Look at the cord on this thing. It's about the thickness of I don't know, kite string. But it's got a big old blade on it. It's a 12-inch, I believe a 12-inch cut. So it'll cut through, not through these, but it'll cut through my 2.5-inch, 3-inch board. So that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna square them up. Then I'm gonna just put the 2 together that I want for each side, and then I'm gonna carve the cornflower. So stick around. Okay. All right, everyone. This is the pavilion, the cornflower, or the coneflower, correct?
Not cone, not corn, cone.
Cone. It's the
Cone.
I always want to call it the cornflower. I'm like,
You do.
I'm looking up online, cornflower. I don't see one. And it shows me a bag of flour. Yeah. It's cone.
Cone, cone.
All right, 5 panels. Will fit right in here. And this is 8 feet or just a little above it? Okay.
Wow.
Because they're going to come outside.
Right.
Yep, it needs a little warmth.
I'm going to be honest right now. Well, it's not like I'm not ever honest. I'm just going to be super honest. When I saw that thing, the cone flower, I was kind of shocked at the size and the scope of this thing. And I'll be honest, I wasn't really sure what I was going to be getting myself into when I signed up to do these panels. I didn't really have a clue until I actually showed up, which is, well, these are the pictures depicting what I saw. And soon enough, you'll literally see what I saw. See how that works? Here we go. Well, Pam and I are off to the races. We're just trying to get these boards. I mean, all right, so when you get boards from an Amish mill, they're going to have knots. I mean, they're not going to have the premium quality. At least the ones by us, they don't. So I'm here putting on, coming up with ideas, thinking with my extremely large brain how awesome this is going to look. And it does make an interesting image, especially for this one with the eggs. But I thought, well, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but I'm going to try. And that's 90% of my life in a nutshell. So I know we're flipping around a little bit, but so I need to do the life cycle of the monarch butterfly. And the monarch butterfly it's extremely beautiful. And you know what? I have seen those caterpillars around, You don't see them much, but I have seen them, and they're freaking gigantic, man. And I was just captivated by, the look of these things as I'm drawing them using this projector. Thanks, Bill Canziora, for the projector. Shout out to Apple Creek Carving Company, and to Bill Canziora for his donation to the Mojo Dojo. And so I have to come up with these different concepts. Like, one is going to be the caterpillar, the chrysalis, the eggs, and the actual butterfly. And how do I depict this in a magnified state? And so that was my job. And I didn't want to be over technical. I wanted to have fun with it. And so here I am, trying to have some fun with it.
Okay, everyone. So I'm just trying to discover some different textures for this piece, because there's 4 big panels, as you can see there, almost to the ceiling, and all the way to the floor. But I'm trying to figure out a couple of new textures to mesh. Whether they belong or not, it doesn't matter, because it's your mind fills in the gaps. So bear with me.
Well, it's true. It does. It does. Your mind does fill in the gaps. And I really wasn't looking for new textures. I was just looking for new textures to use in certain circumstances. Ones that I probably wouldn't have tried to use before, or ones that made sense to me, I guess, at the time. And, not a lot that I do is too much different than any other thing I do. It's just the application and how I, want to use them. Those swirls, the cross hatches, the half circles, it's all about playing with shadow and light. And I've always said it, without shadow and light, you're pretty much dead in the water. And it also makes chainsaw carving, painting easier, because now you have an indication of what's what. You don't just force colors where you want to put them, and that, because it just never seems to work out right for me. Maybe I don't have the skill or the talent to force my will upon a piece of wood and then paint it, even though the wood isn't telling me where to paint or what to paint like it should. In my mind, it should tell you, because you already did the homework with the sketch. The sketch is everything. I'm a pen and ink guy from a long time ago, and so that is why I use all these chicken scratch all these crazy movements and lines, and because they need to have contrast to bring depth to something. And I don't know, for me, it's where it's at. It's what I love to do, and I think it keeps me from going absolutely bonkers, and from a carving standpoint. I mean, I don't mind working with flats. Like, say if I was to do like some sort of what do they call that, where you, like a diamond, like faceted type carvers sometimes will block in facets, and I think it's kind of cool. But to me, if I do that, like, I've done it before, but it's usually an afterthought, because I usually play around with round things, and so, and it's sort of like I look at carving wood with the tip of that bar like my fingers or my thumb in clay, and I'm just trying to move things around, change things a bit, find some depth, and get that shadow to play, and get my highlights all up, and where I can see them, and then I'll step back and I'll check it out, and I'll just be like, okay, yeah, it needs something here, it needs something there. I don't like what I did there, and you'll see me. I'll redo this, I don't know, 2 or 3 times, however many times it takes, because unless I'm happy, with the carved outcome, the paint process is probably not going to fare well either. Well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes you can do a good paint job on a crappy piece of wood or carving, and it makes it look 100% better. But, you know, for me, I have a more discerning eye, and I can tell if the carving underneath there is worth, you know, the effort of, you know, the person took to paint it. And, you know, and if they understand that when they carve, most people don't understand it, but when they carve and they paint, their finish always ends up, you know, however the textures are, it's specifically designed to be painted, but more so painted by them.
So in case you're wondering what this thing is, I don't even know I haven't given it a name yet, but it's awesome. It's about 8 feet long, maybe 6 feet high, maybe 5.5, 6 feet high. What it's gonna do is it's a cradle for those big walls I'm working on. So I can put them onto a lift. I built this so you can see at the very bottom here, the forks slide into these little things I built. Let me show you. So as you can see, forks are right here. They slide in and they lock in. So I can also use this thing as a man lift when I'm working on bigger carvings or whatever. But for now, this cradle that I built is gonna hold all those fancy wood whitlands that you see me working on. So this next bit of the video is just us trying to see if it's gonna work. So stick around.
Yeah, everybody, stick around. So anyways, my wife and I decided that the screws that we put together to keep them somewhat tight while we started the carvings weren't gonna be very advantageous for travel, so at least even out to the outside of the barn. So we screwed these 2x6s top and bottom to just keep them, you know, in a position where I could carve them and not have screws poking through. And you know where I was going to be. For sure I knew where I was going to be, and I didn't need to concern myself with going too deep on these because my idea didn't plan for too much depth, but you know, I had to get in there somewhat. I mean, you got to go crazy in some ways, but I'll bet you there was at least half an inch to like a whole inch of material left in the back on those 3-inch slabs, so not too bad. And you know, there's a seam there, and it's tight in some places and it's not in others, but that's how it goes when you're doing these types of things. And so hey, look at there, it's Bill. Hey Bill Canziora from Greenleaf, Wisconsin, everyone. Yay! All right, well, Bill came to help me out. I was struggling at that point and needed this thing to get a little shot in the arm. So Bill came with his newfound talent and newfound skills in relief work. I've been working with him for a while, and he really is starting to take off, you know, especially in this arena. He's pretty solid, and that's why I can use Bill. And my joy came when I discovered that, hey, I have somebody that I can call and help me out with this kind of stuff. So that's like super cool. And from what I gather from the last conversations I had with the Heckrot folks, they're going to have us do many more panels, and so that's a good thing. So Bill will come in handy on those jobs as well. It's good for everybody. Bill gets to learn, and I get to have some work done, and we both feel that, you know, that sense of pride once something is done, and we did it together. And I really didn't have to guide him much, you know, he's pretty solid. So I think I had to guide me more than him. But as you can see, again, shadow and light, super critical. We're in the shop. We have I basically have a cattle gate that swings from one end of the shop clear to the other. It's a 16-foot cattle gate, 20 feet up in the air, with 4 lights on it that I can, like I said, I can swing it. So if we're in a position where the lighting isn't perfect, so to speak, we can easily just either pick up the whole rack and move it back because it's on wheels, or we can just move, swing the light around. And you can see that when the barn doors open, there's like a glare comes in and you can't see too much on the carving. It really kind of wipes out any of the shadow. So we keep the doors closed. It sucks even on a nice day, I know, but you got to close those doors and you got to get the right light if you're going to do this kind of thing. It's critical in my eyes. It's critical to be able to do shadow and light. I don't even know what carving looks like without it. I mean, how are you supposed to see? I don't know. It'd be like carving with one eyeball and dark sunglasses. That's how bad it is. I mean, for me, I gotta have. I think that's probably why I don't carve ice, is because I'm a shadow and light guy. I'm sure I could learn. I'm sure it's not, beyond my scope of, talents or whatever. But I just think I'm just more prone to like lean into carving because I can really access my past, my abilities from all the years of pen and ink, and I get to play around with these saws and do some really fine details. Yeah, it's a little daunting. If you're looking at time, the consumption of time is, boy, there's a lot of it spent just in these little, I look at it like, okay, I'm just going to take care of this little 6-inch section, right? That's my mentality when I first start. I'm like, I'm just going to do this one little section, and then I'm going to move over and I'm going to do a little section here. But as you can see, for me, I'm all over the place. I'm just flitting around with different tools and trying to find some sense of continuity. I got, okay, well, this texture looks really good in this place. What if I moved it over, and what if I did that texture in this place? See what I mean? The light's just hitting it and it kills all the shadows, or most of them anyway. So we've got Bill. We're at the point now where he's just sanding things down. We're cleaning up the edge and softening things down to make it look more like a finished piece, because the next thing that's coming is the paint, and I don't want to struggle with rough surfaces when I'm going to do my dry brush. I just want everything to kind of have the same textures, the same type of not textures, not all of them going to be the same texture, obviously. There I am doing the caterpillar, but I want it to be consistent, so that everything has either it's been touched, hopefully it's all been touched with some sort, either a finger sander or a flap sander or something, so I can, when I go to do my dry brush, I don't have a bunch of rough edges pulling paint off the brush and leaving problem areas for me to deal with. So I like to have everything kind of either brushed or flap sanded, or Osborne brush or flap sand or something, just to make it all consistent, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. Anyway, so Bill and I right now are deciding what we're gonna do to wrap up the end of, we're getting right there towards the end, and I don't know if I told you or not, but those panels can be lifted up to about 6 feet. So we started at the bottom, and then we ended up raising ourselves up to that level, right? So that's cool. I mean, and like if Bill is, working right in his sweet spot, everything's right there at chest or belly level, not too much below it. And if he has to bend over, then it's, he can do that. Instead of bending over to get it, he can just get down off the scaffolding and stay in the strike zone. The strike zone is very critical. Holding your tools so that you can be very solid and precise and consistent. As you can see, I want to stay in the strike zone forever, and so I have Bill just kind of help me out. As you can see my strike zone. It's very obvious. Bill's isn't, because Bill's nimble and he can get around better than I do, but I just pivot my feet and my legs. As you can see, my heels going up and down, back and forth, and my knees bending slightly. Everything's right in the pocket. I try to stay there so I get nice consistent strokes and movements, if that's what you want to call them. I just pivot my hips instead of moving my arms. It's better to have that big, that your hips can swivel, and it's super solid in comparison to just moving your arms in unison. And if you move your arms in unison, then you're pulling your arms away from your body. And if the saw or the grinder or whatever grabs, it can yank it out. But if your arms are locked and you're just pivoting with your body, it's sort of like gives it more torque. And so now you're going to see, there's Pam. Oh, she's so dang cute. We're going to throw throw this thing up on the lift and keep putting that thing right in the sweet spot. Folks, I'm telling you, my carving friends, if you have a shop, even if you don't, build yourself like a roof or something, and then get yourself one of these lifts. I think I bought the one that I'm working on, a lift 3,500 pounds, and it cost me like $250. They're out there, they're for sale, and they're battery operated. So if you got one, you could take it over to your place, put it down. I don't care if you just set it down in gravel or whatever, just set it down or on a piece of plywood or whatever, and then you can bring your carvings over to that thing and just leave it stationary. You don't, for me, or unless you have a concrete floor in your shop, then you can wheel it around like I do. Mine's a wood floor, but same. And to me, it's just, I have three of them. I have two battery ones and an electric, and a foot pump one. And they're all absolutely necessary, especially if you're an older guy like me and you're kind of stuck being that way. It helps to have something that can lift your work right into that zone that you feel most comfortable in. And that is where I'm at in my journey. If I could buy another one, say if I had a concrete floor, you know what I think I'd do? I think I'd get one of those kind they use in grocery stores and whatnot, where they kind of, it drives itself with a battery propulsion or whatever, and you can, it'll just ride itself around. And you could just point it in a direction and go. Because this thing, even though it's heavy, you could put a ton of weight on this thing, and it'll still move around with relative ease with a ton of weight. So literally a ton of weight. My floors, you can hear the wood crunching underneath it, but hey, works good. Oh, there I am putting in the bottom coneflowers. Yes, that's right, folks. Coneflower. It is not a cornflower. It did not come in a bag. All right. So, this is important. So I'm just putting a little texture into the framework because I wanted to have a frame if you remember, I initially wanted to put like a window frame thing, like you're looking through a window frame, but honestly, you're not going to see microscopic stuff out a window. So I just decided to just put like a rustic, wooden frame. And you got to remember, this is for kids. This is not, this is not a scientifically correct depiction of what these things are. They're just, an artistic, fun thing that I was able to do for the customers. And the customers, I've worked a lot for them. I've done lots of panels for them, and they love them. And this is no exception. We're just trying to tune this baby up so that we can get it ready for paint. As you can see, I'm just now putting in bottom details, and I think the only details left are the frame details. As you can see, I just flap sanded it. Sanding the coneflower flowers, but I wanted texture because I'm dry brushing. And if you're going to dry brush, listen up. If you're going to dry brush, texture every single thing. And preferably, if you're going to have different items, say an egg and a leaf, you don't want to put the same texture on the egg and the leaf. You want to have everything being different. There we go. Finally, we get to go to the paint. Paint sprayer was acting up a little bit, but I was able to get the job done with what I had. And, the paint that I used was pretty awesome. And it dried pretty quick. I'll be, after I get this part done, I think we took a break and went in for lunch, just to let the stuff dry, and came back out, put another coat on there, I believe, and it dried super fast, and we were able to get painting almost right away. And it was, I think I used the last of the really good paint that I had on here, but we bought some other paint as well that we went over it with, and it was more porous. It wasn't porous. The paint wasn't porous. It allowed more paint to seep through, and so it wasn't as good a coverage as, say, the first can. But everything worked out fine, thankfully, because we had the same on both. So as long as you have consistency, you're in good shape. But here I am putting basically it's like looking more like a photo negative. That's just putting the white in, and so the white is there. So for when you add color, so when you put your white on, you still have your depth. You still, from the black. And I know there's other people that use different colors, but I guess I'm a sucker for the black and white. And then, or I'll just do like a black and cream or khaki. I think that is awesome as well. And I think this is just like an off-white, almost like a cream colored, I guess. But it's pretty amazing how all of the colors, once you put that white over top, now you've got something. Now you've got something that the colors, a color on top of black isn't going to show up for squat. It's got to be a lighter tone so that it will pop. The colors have to pop. So that's why I put white or khaki or something, a lighter tone over top of the black before I put the color on. Okay, everybody, stay awake with me. I know it's getting redundant, but it's going to all end soon. Yeah, so we've got 1, 2, 3. We got 4 panels, and I thought today is gonna be a great day if I could just get all 4 of these bad boys done. And apparently, me and time, we don't see eye to eye so much. So I I only work as long as I can, and then if I burn out, I go in the house. I get something to eat, maybe get something to drink, maybe take a nap, maybe, I don't know. Maybe we go grocery shopping. Just do something to get away from. Just do something to go, to get away from everything, and make what I can, make the best part of my day being in my shop. In order to do that, you need to step away sometimes. So, ideally, it would have been great to just knock everything out, those 2 panels in one day. But it's not how it worked out. But just because some things don't work out doesn't mean you're not doing a good job, or that you're, some sort of failure or something. Things oftentimes don't work out for me, and it's just, you got to have a mental, a positive mental, like there's a part of you that understands that you're not perfect, and some people just have a real problem with thinking that maybe they're not perfect, but their work can be. Well, that's just unrealistic. Oh, there I am, putting the frame on just a little bit there, and then off we are onto the next piece. Adding blues. I wanted to be like sky blue, and since I was using blue on the, or multiple blues on the butterfly piece, I figured I'd move it on over to the egg 2, as if you were looking from the underside of the egg, and then you see the blue sky above. But that's just a perspective thing, and it doesn't really matter, because art is subjective, and you can say whatever. You can think that was water. I don't know. It's underwater butterflies. Awesome. Cool. Nice. That's what those things are on their face. They're snorkels. And right now they're down there hanging out in sea urchins or something. But seriously, folks, I'll be here all week. Well, if you like that last musical offering, that was Unique by the Modern Day Romeos. The Modern Day Romeos consist with, well, they have two of my nephews in the band, Jimmy and Justin, and they rock, and they have a huge following. Anyway, enough about them. Let's get on the topic of underwater butterflies. So here's where I'm starting to throw in some of that poppy color, the gold and the orange and the white against the pitch black, and that is against the color of the coneflower, and against the blues and the greens. It should pop pretty good when I'm all done. But right now I'm just going over top of the. Oh look, I'm painting the snorkels. There we go. If you ever wondered how underwater butterflies breathe, it's with the snorkels. They have snorkels. I'm saying that because I have firsthand experience, and well, look at that. Look how beautiful underwater bugs are. Anyways, so I learned my lesson on the first butterfly, and the second butterfly went a little smoother, and the third butterfly, I just grabbed a can of spray paint and, I skipped all of the pageantry and just went in for the kill. I just wanted to get the orange and the black where it needed to be to create the framework around the orange panels or whatever you call them on the wings, and once I was done with that, I wanted to make sure that everything was dry before I put the white on. And then there's some other color too. I think I used yellow and a mixture of yellow and orange to create this I don't know, like a golden color for in the wings. And just kind of, here you go. There's the white. There's the white little doodads on the ends of the wings. That's not scientific jargon. That's just because I don't know what they're called. So we'll call them doodads. And here I am highlighting the water, highlighting the sky behind the butterflies to create something that pops. My wife tended to like it, so when I got down, I had to say, all right, let's just tighten this up a little bit. And once they were done, we had to move them over to a makeshift table with some brand new moving blankets so they didn't get any dirt on them or anything. And we hit those because these are going outside, but they're going to be completely protected. So I wanted to have, the whole thing coated in latex. And we're now painting the second ones, which is the caterpillar and the chrysalis, or the cocoon. And again, the same procedure. I go over it with the white. Now this, I think I did in one day. This was the following day. I got all these done. I think I got started at about 9, and I was done with both because by this time I already had a really good idea of how I was going to do it. Since I already did it once, I just kind of, steamrolled right through it, and had my wife there to move the scaffold left to right, because it's on wheels and I'm not. So again, here we go with the blue. I wanted to have blue because, think about it. I just finished doing the blue sky on the other one, and I knew kind of what I was after. I knew where I was going with it. Everything kind of had to be cohesive, so I used the same techniques on all the panels to get to the blue, and then I went to the green. But I wanted to have like different types of green for each one of those types of leaf or greenery. I honestly don't know what the heck I think it looks like a ladder or something underneath there. I remember when I was drawing it when it was all blown up on the wood. I was drawing it, I'm like, what is this thing? But it's I don't know what it is. You can use your imagination. I think it's just some sort of fibrous. I don't know if it's like I thought it looked like a pea pod or something, but I don't know what it is. I just drew it, and now I had to carve it and paint it. And the stem that the big caterpillar was on is kind of like ripped open and chewed up. And here I go. Okay, so this is like brown twigs and blue sky. And then I had to kind of decide what the heck I was going to do for color for the cocoon thing, the chrysalis. I don't know, is it a chrysalis or is it a cocoon? It's a I'm sorry everyone, this is horrible. The cocoon, I'll call it a cocoon. Some people call it a chrysalis, I guess, but yeah, let's just see what's happening. Oh my gosh, this is horrible.
Oh, didn't see you there. You've been here the whole time? That's weird. I could have sworn I was alone up here. Anyway, I'm just finishing up this project. Actually, it's quite finished. And I'm drinking out of my big gulp. You guys got one of these? I've had this since the 90s. As you can't tell. Anyway, this is the end of the video, everyone. I really appreciate you hanging around till this point. And I'm not sure if I'm going to finish this video in a way that would have me be delivering these things, or if I just want to do it right now. But either way, I'm going to try to accomplish those two things at one time. All right? So here's the thing. I had some issues with the black paint. One set of the panels didn't absorb the dry brush. The other did. This absorbed it somewhat for some reason. And you can see a little bit more black coming through, which is, it's no big deal. But the other one that worked out really good. So did this actually. Artistically, I think they look pretty good. And I'm really happy with them. Hopefully the folks at Heckrot will like them as well. So if you haven't seen the other project I did for Heckrot, maybe you should go check it out. It's called the Heckrot Wild Space Project, and starring me. And I do a really cool project for them, and you can see the install the whole night. On this one though, we're not going to see the install unless maybe later. Maybe later we'll go back and video it in the spring or whenever they put it up. So until that time, I just want to say thanks again for supporting me and watching my channel. It means the world. Don't forget to like and subscribe, smash the notification bell, and I will see you on the next one.
Hey Jeff, this is Luke. Just wanted to let you know that we got your install up at the Coneflower Pavilion, and it looks awesome. I just wanted to say thanks again for believing in this space and kind of getting art out in the community and promoting environmental education through your work. It's really cool, and I'm so happy that you are part of the magic that's happening here. Thanks again, Jeff, for all your work for the reserve, and I can't wait for the next project together.